Folks, well, I'm back at the bench working on the Jeep a little bit more. Unfortunately, for those of you that are hoping to see me build some more stuff and whatnot, I haven't got that far yet. I'm still working on the fenders and the rock sliders, so I'm not really going to call this an official part to the Jeep build series. But what I'm going to show you tonight is the brazing part of it. Now, some of you may be familiar with silver soldering with a MAP gas. Propane torch usually isn't hot enough, so you got to use MAP, but this isn't even quite the same. This is a step up from that. Let me show you what is involved, and then I'll try to do some brazing, and hopefully it works out. You can see the setup I use. I wish I had a bigger oxyacetylene torch set, but I don't, so this is what I have to work with. This can here, or this container holds MAP gas, just like this torch here. In this case it's called MPS, but on that cylinder it's MAP. And the red cylinder is oxygen. So how it works is you light the torch using the MAP gas. Right, the torch is right here. Then once it's lit, you slowly bring in the oxygen, and the MAP is actually used to ignite the oxygen, and that oxygen is what gives you the nice hot flame to do torch welding, cutting, that sort of thing. You can cut with this system, thinner metal with this system. I've tried it, but there's really no point because you go through the oxygen pretty fast. A tank of that lasts maybe 10 minutes on a continuous burn, so it doesn't last too long. But here are the rods I'm going to use. They're actually bronze brazing rods. It takes a lot higher temperature to melt this than a silver solder, but also, as far as I'm concerned, it's better because it's stronger. Here you can see, I'll pull one out. Here you can see one of the rods that I've already used in the past. This yellow stuff on the outside is a flux, and that's used to keep the joint from oxidizing while you're, and it also cleans the metal so the brazing rod will stick. It's kind of like soldering, where you use flux to get the solder to flow and to stick better. Most solders have flux built in internally, but I still use the brush-on flux, the non-clean flux as well. Some will disagree, but whatever. So I'm going to set you up on the camera tripod, and I'm going to see if I can do some brazing, fill in this whole gap, and then I'm going to have to use the grinder nut to clean it all up, to smooth it all out. Oh, one other thing, if you're using a wire brush to do some cleaning, you want to make sure to get a stainless steel wire brush, not just a regular one, because a regular one will contaminate your joint with rust and that if you use it. So this one I've got, you can see it's a Lincoln Electric brush. It is stainless, and it's dedicated solely to doing stuff like this for welding, and that's it. So let me get you up on the tripod and let's make some heat. Okay, you'll have to bear with me. It's been a while since I've done any brazing. Hopefully I don't block the light too much, but just going to use a smaller wire brush to do a little more cleaning here. And one other thing I forgot to mention whenever you're doing something like this, something else to have, fire extinguisher. Playing with fire, you get a problem, you need to have that handy at all times. Now let's see if I can do this. Just gotta get my glasses handy. Here's kind of like a grinding glass. They're like a fairly heavy, fairly dark sunglasses, because believe it or not, this gets kind of bright. So I'm going to turn on the MAP gas. You don't need to crank it up much. See, that's already too much because the flame, sorry, that's too much because the flame is jumping away from the tip too far. You can see there's a gap in there, so I'm going to turn it down so it's like so. Now this little setup that I've got here cost about $70 Canadian. So now the trick I usually have problems with is turning on the oxygen, and this stand that I've got is useless, but you got to turn on the oxygen slow, because it has a tendency of putting out the flame. It comes on too quick, so it may go out on me. But we'll see. You'll hear it, it'll start whistling, and you'll see the flame change quite a bit when it comes on. Come on. Should be getting close here now. Can feel some resistance. Can. Sorry, I'm not trying to be dramatic. There we go. See? Blew it out. Try her again. Bring it on slow so the oxygen ignites. There it comes. There you go. Okay. That's where you get some heat. Now, depending on this flame, the type of flame determines what you can do with it. Usually need it fairly hot. I like to try to set it so that middle cone does not have any orange in it. Now, let's just see what we can do. We got to heat the metal. It should heat pretty fast. I'm going to heat the rod so it gets red hot. Shouldn't take too long. You got to get her smoking hot. Probably could have saved some oxygen by using the map torch to start. Now you can see here the glue's on fire. Come on, girl. Now you can see it start trying to keep the heat on the rod more so than the sheet metal. There it goes. Now this torch will get hot enough to melt this metal, so move it around. There we go. Now, try to get this to melt. Probably going to glob on. There she goes. Flows on just like solder. I'm going to have to grind some of it away, and I may have to reposition my work. A lot of it's kind of running off the bottom. That's all there is to it. There you can see the end of the rod melted away. It kind of worked its way underneath, coated everything. So because of all these tack welds I have on here, I'm going to have to do a fair bit of work cleaning all this up. But heck, I could even use this rod for if I had some holes to fill, that sort of thing. Dents or whatever, you can just melt this and flow it into the dents. So I'll do one more for you and then call her good. Alright, I got it repositioned and I figured I'd try something. See if I can call myself a liar. I'm going to see if the MAP gas alone, for those of you out there that don't want to buy an oxygen setup, maybe this MAP gas with this style tip will get it hot enough. I've already preheated it a bit, but let's just see. I got a feeling it won't do her, but okay. It's worth a try, and it'll save me the cost of the oxygen bottles. So the oxygen bottles are quite expensive. Starting to get red hot. Not quite as high red hot as the oxygen gets. We'll find out. There you go. So I lied, tubers. This will work. And it's working quite well, I have to say. And you can see how I repositioned the work, filling in this gas better. happy. Glad I tried this. There you go. You can see, let me turn this light off, maybe I'll see a little better. Still glowing pretty good. That filled in a lot better, so I think maybe what I'll do, just turn here, is I'm going to do this side as well. Do it the same way, because it didn't flow very good. So let's do that one as well. Alright, since that worked so well on that side, I'm going to do this side over. I think I might spin that a little bit more in the vise. I'm not going to touch it. Ooh, she's hot. Even the vise is hot. Gotta keep an eye out on the, make sure I don't start my workbench on fire. That would really suck. It's cold out, but I got a wood stove. Don't need the bench to burn. Alright, you're probably thinking I went through a boatload of MAP gas, but you know what? Still a heck of a lot cheaper than oxygen, because oxygen's about $10 a bottle, whereas that MAP gas is probably about 3 or 4. So, there you have it. Let me get you off the tripod and give you a quick look. Alright, my camera will focus. You see it's kind of lumpy bumpy. Come on. Come on. See if I can help it focus. I don't think there we go. You can see she's pretty lumpy bumpy, and there's a few gaps here and there, but what I'll do is I'll clean it all up. Still have to do this side yet. And clean it all up, and then see if there's any place that need to be touched up. Boy oh boy, you can sure feel the heat coming off of it. So I hope you learned a little bit from this video. I know I did, with the MAP gas working for the brazing. And you can use this kind of brazing technique if you want to make your own like tuber chassis for crawlers or roll cages or whatever, and you don't have access to a welder. You just go down and buy the proper torch with the MAP gas. Propane will not work. It doesn't get hot enough. Use the MAP gas and those brazing rods, and be very careful if you're doing this, because it gets awfully hot and you don't want to start a fire. But it works pretty well, and it'll hold plenty strong for RC use. Anyways, I'm going to continue working on this and hopefully get it done on this side so I can match up on the other side and then move on to something new. Take care and talk to you later.